Hello and welcome to your Coping with Stress workshop. We're going to get right into it, and I'm going to share my screen, a little presentation. Oh, we are on the wrong screen. Here we go. Oh, technology. Okay. So I'm very excited for this workshop today for coping with stress. Welcome, welcome. I am Hannah Stinson. I am a published author, a divine somatic healer, a spiritual life coach, and yoga teacher. But beyond all of my titles, you could say, I am also a chronic disease warrior. And so as someone who lives with chronic disease, I often felt that I wasn't supported on my mental health journey and really not taught how to cope with different emotions, different factors of what it is like to live with chronic disease, to, have chronic pain, chronic fatigue, be in and out of doctor's appointments, having multiple surgeries, the recovery process, and the list goes on. So I was very honored to collaborate with Hope for Stomach Cancer on these different sessions, because even though I don't live with cancer, I can relate on some level to what it is you're going through. And that really inspired me to create this mental health and wellness program. And again, I'm very grateful for Hope for Stomach Cancer for being a sponsor and for working together with me to bring this to all of you. So before we begin, I just want to remind you that I am not a medical professional and that none of this is medical advice. This is advice coming from a mental health perspective. I am a mental health expert. I've been working in this field for almost a decade, and I really dedicate what I do with my clients in my business, Healing with Hannah, to help people heal their central nervous systems, to create internal safety in their body so they feel comfortable to work through any challenges that come their way without becoming dysregulated. And in a previous session, I did go deeper into central nervous system regulation, talking about how we create internal safety. So if you're looking for more on that, make sure to go back and you'll find all of the workshops we've done in 2022 as well as in 2021. So let's get started. So this session is all about stress, right? Coping with stress. And it's like, what even is stress? I'm sure we've all experienced it in our lives individually, but stress is often considered to be this feeling of overwhelm, okay? And really the inability to cope with this emotional or mental pressure that is affecting us. And this is different for everyone, okay? But stress is a innate response to danger, right? This is hormonal, right? When we think of stress, it's like the cortisol levels in our body increasing, and this influences our stress responses, right? Or our trauma responses is also known what they can be known as. So that would be fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And so whether there's real danger or it's imagined, our bodies don't know the difference, right? So they're literally just trying to protect us. Our bodies are so powerful. They just want to protect us. So I have an example I wrote down in this presentation, but it's, let's say you're driving your car to work and someone swerves in front of you, okay? It's almost like they were going to hit you, but they didn't. But in this process, it causes you to swerve and almost get into an accident. You are able to, get back into your lane. You're fine. You didn't get into an accident. You're safe, right? But your stress response has been activated because of the potential onset of danger. So this is why after, yes, you may be safe, you haven't been hit, but you're still feeling very activated because your nervous system is activated. So this is when our body amps up those cortisol levels to help us keep us safe, right? It would have, if you had gotten into an accident, those cortisol levels are there to help keep you safe. But because you didn't get in an accident and you're actually safe, you have all of this amped up cortisol in your body, and this then affects the rest of your day, right? So, let's say this happened in the morning. Now you're finishing up at work. It's 4:45. You're done at 5. You're getting ready to leave. And your boss sends you an email saying, hey, I need you to get this report to me by the end of the day, meaning the next 15 minutes. And that could actually cause that same cortisol that was amped up and surging through your body in that potential danger of the accident to happen again. And that's when we begin to get into this like loop, this trauma response loop of never actually getting ourselves into a state of ventral. And ventral is our state of enjoyment and pleasure and love and joy and connection, right? So just very briefly, I will explain again how our nervous systems work, our central nervous systems. So we have our ventral state, and I like to think of these like a ladder. So our ventral state is at the top. That's our social engagement. That's where we function optimally. It's also known as homeostasis. When we are triggered or when we have a perceived onset of danger, we go into our trauma response. We go into our sympathetic state, which is where fight, flight, freeze, and fawn are activated, okay? Those are our 4 stress responses or our trauma responses. And if we're unable to regulate ourselves and get ourselves back to ventral, we end up going into dorsal vagal shutdown. And that's when we experience depression, lethargy, illness, disease. So often, because we are living in a society that causes us to constantly be activated, we often are switching between sympathetic and dorsal. We're not actually getting to a state of ventral and regulating our nervous system. So that's why it's so important to understand this so we can actually heal our stress. So there's many different types of stress. I just wanted to touch on a few: emotional, physical, and mental, and just like give you examples of how they show up, because when we have this awareness, it allows us to, work to get back into that state of ventral, right? So emotional, feelings of anxiety, guilt, irritability, upset. It will kind of show up in like the loss of interest in certain things, the loss of enjoyment or energy in things we used to enjoy. Right? So when you're living with cancer, whether you're in remission, newly diagnosed, it doesn't matter. It can cause us to go, like our stress levels to go through the roof. And then that causes emotional stress where the things that we used to enjoy, we struggle to enjoy because we're constantly in this loop of what's going to happen, what's going to happen, what's going to happen. And that is totally normal. But that's also a sign that your nervous system is dysregulated. And that is why you're here to learn these different coping mechanisms. Physical, you probably can recognize these really well in your body: heart racing, elevated blood pressure, headache, chest pain, gut issues, like maybe your stomach's not feeling good, a change in your sleep patterns. So that could be chronic exhaustion or insomnia, a change in your appetite, as well as restlessness. So not the inability to actually sit still. And then just a few mental examples would be negative thinking and self-talk, difficulty concentrating, as well as difficulty making decisions. These are symptoms of stress, okay? So we need the awareness around how these show up so we can heal and we can allow ourselves to regulate. So what is stress management? We know that when we live with chronic states of stress, we're putting ourselves, our well-being at risk for emotional, mental, physical, chronic health conditions. Chronic stress affects how we respond to situation, right? It affects how we function. It affects how we enjoy our life overall. So sometimes it does feel like there's nothing we can do to handle the stress in our lives, but we have to remember that we have more control than we give ourselves credit for, right? We might not be able to control the situations in our lives, but we can control how we respond versus how we react. When we are in a reactive state, that is when our stress levels are dictating the show. When we are responding, it is because we are coming from a place of a regulated nervous system. So effective stress management gives us the ability to take back that control, okay? So we can be happier, healthier, and increase our productivity in our day-to-day lives. It allows us to strive for more balance between work, our relationships, our relaxation, our fun, and it really helps us in being able to handle any challenges or pressure that come our way with resilience, okay? And you are way more resilient than you give yourself credit for. So let's talk a little bit about some different ways we can manage our stress. So this one seems pretty straightforward. It's not always, but we really want to check in and see how we can avoid unnecessary stress. A big one is boundaries, 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 boundaries. And so many of us do not have any boundaries because this isn't something that we're taught in school or university, right? This is about learning how to say no, knowing your limits, because if you say yes to everything, that's when you get overwhelmed. That's when you get burnt out. And that's when you get sick, right? Because our stress levels, our cortisol is through the roof. It is circulating throughout our entire body, and our body's not functioning properly because there's too much cortisol. So practice saying no, okay? It might not be easy at first. It might feel really, really weird, and you might feel guilty. I'm going to tell you something. Dr. Gabor Mate, who is such a phenomenal trauma-informed psychotherapist, reminds us that guilt is just the result of putting yourself first. So if you feel guilty from saying no to someone, whatever that thing is, maybe they invited you out for dinner and you just don't have the energy to go. Maybe they asked you to help you with them with something. Again, you don't have the energy for it. If you're feeling guilty, it's because you put yourself first. When you say yes, when you really mean no, that is when resentment comes in. And resentment is like tar in the body. Resentment gets stuck and it causes chronic illness, okay? We don't want more illness than what we're already dealing with. So I highly recommend that you read the book When the Body Says No by Dr. Gabor Mate. It is incredible. It changed my life when I read it in 2019, and I guarantee you it'll change yours. So let's move on. Avoiding those types of people who stress you out. Maybe there's someone in your life who's constantly stressed out. They kind of live in chaos, right? Something's always going wrong. They're always complaining. There's always something to be mad about. Those relationships are not fueling you. They are depleting you. You need to protect your peace. You need to protect your energy. So allow yourself to put up a boundary and don't hang out with them as much. I'm not saying cut them out of your life. I'm not saying don't talk to them anymore, but put that boundary up, okay? Another big one is taking control of your environment. If you don't like, for example, shopping in person because it stresses you out, do so online, right? We have so many options nowadays. If you don't like driving because it stresses you out, see if your partner or your loved one or a family member or a friend can help drive you around to different appointments. Or maybe take the bus or take an Uber or a taxi or walk, right? Analyze your to-do list and see how you can prioritize what actually is important that day. I like to use the big three and little three method. So if I have, and like, being an entrepreneur, I have an endless list of to-dos, but I like to prioritize the big three. Okay, what are three big things I need to get done today? And this doesn't have to be in relation to work. It can be a relation to appointments, calling doctors, ordering groceries, doing stuff around the house, yada, yada, right? So you prioritize the big three. Those are the three things that you need to get done that day. That's what you focus on. Then you have your little three. Those are the things that if you have time, you will get to. If you don't, you just carry them on to the next day. You work on them the next day, okay? That is something that I found to be so beneficial and really helps me stay present and be in the moment without, my mind racing and racing and racing about all the things that I have to get done. The next one I want to touch on is adapting to stress. Reframe your problems, okay? This is something that's huge, and we learn to work with our subconscious mind because our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between real and not real, right? It doesn't know the difference between something that's the truth or not. So if you're in a stressful situation, try your best to see it in a positive light, okay? And this takes practice. This isn't going to happen overnight. But, for example, let's say you're sick and you need to take some time off work. This is a chance to give your body time to recover, to rest, and to heal. This is not, you're not a bad person. You're not a bad employee. You're not a bad worker because you had to put yourself first. Okay. We've been taught that we should push ourselves. And that's what creates chronic stress, chronic illness, disease, and the list goes on. So really reframing that you're doing this for the betterment of your health. It's also great to think of the big picture. Sometimes we get so caught in the moment, right? Like something happens, we get in a fight with our partner or our friend, and it's the end of the world. We think, oh my God, they're never going to talk to me again. How are we going to get over this? Whatever it is. Ask yourself, is this going to matter in 1 year? Is this going to matter in 5 years? If the answer is no, do your best to focus your attention elsewhere, creating a solution to the problem, letting your friend or partner know that you will, when you have the energy, you can talk about the thing that set you both off or one of you off, whatever the case may be. Another big one is adjusting your standards. Perfectionism is such a big source of stress. No one is perfect. Literally, no one is perfect. So give yourself grace when you feel like you're not good enough, right? It's okay to set reasonable standards for yourself and others, and really remind yourself that you're never going to get it right all the time. And also, what is right? What is wrong? These are concepts that society has structured, and it's important to have your own personal spiritual laws or your dharma of what is right and wrong to you. Okay. Making a mistake just means you're human. We learn, we grow, we do better next time. Practicing gratitude is another really wonderful one. Gratitude is the key to a joy-filled life. I truly believe that. So focus every day on what you're grateful for. And we're going to get into this a little bit later with our journal prompts. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But gratitude is such an important part of relieving stress. Sharing your feelings is also really great. Expressing to a loved one who you feel safe with, or a therapist or a counselor, or a healer, what you're going through, okay? If there's no solution, it's okay. It's just about having someone to listen to you and to hold that space for you, so you're not carrying it all on your own and feeling heavy in your heart. And of course, I just want to mention, stress management is not a one size fits all. We have to figure out what works best for us. So these are just some examples that work for me. Doesn't mean they're going to work for you, but if any of these stand out to you, just take one of them and run with it. Another one that I found to be really helpful is starting a stress journal. So this is a journal where you can regularly identify stressors in your life and have a healthy way in which to deal with them. So each time you feel stressed, have your journal nearby. You can even do this on your phone, keep track of it. There are also stress tracker apps that you can download to your phone if you need something a little bit more structured, or just use that notes app in your phone. But keeping this daily log actually allows you to see the patterns so you can identify and heal them. So here are some just examples of stress journal prompts, okay? So I would take the time right now to grab your notebook and write these down. These are something you're gonna want for the future. So what caused your stress? Was it procrastination, missing a deadline, forgetting a doctor's appointment, not taking your medication, whatever it is? What caused the stress? Start there. Next, check in with yourself. How did you feel emotionally, mentally, and physically? Where did you feel that in your body when you were feeling that stress? Was your chest feeling tight? Was your stomach feeling off? Were you feeling it in your pinky fingers, wherever? Just make note of it. It's really powerful when we're able to notice where that is happening in our body, breathe into it, close your eyes, bring your hands over your heart or whatever part of your body was feeling the stress, and take some deep belly breaths into that area of the body, letting it know that it is safe and you can breathe through it. We sometimes underestimate the power of our breath. Okay, next question. What am I saying to myself about the situation? What is your self-talk in that moment? Okay, record how you talk to yourself, because often we're really hard on ourselves. We don't need to be. Next question would be, is what I'm feeling realistic? Am I grounded in fact or fear? Okay, yeah, sometimes it is very realistic to be upset about missing a deadline because, maybe you're letting your boss down and your team down and so forth. That's a fact. But are you fearing that you're going to be fired? Are you fearing that someone's going to get mad at you? Are you fearing that you're going to get reprimanded, right? Like really acknowledging where that's coming from. Then how can I change my thinking to reflect more realistically towards the situation, right? So that's like flipping that negative to a positive. Okay, I missed this deadline and I'm really worried my boss is going to be mad at me. I hope she doesn't fire me, yada, yada. Realistically, you'd flip that to, I'm human, I made a mistake. I missed this deadline. I'm going to own up to my mistake. I'm going to apologize to my boss and I'm going to let them know when this will be done. Simple as that. Then check in with yourself. How did you act in response? Did you react? Did you get really angry? Did you cry, right? Like all of this is valid. You're allowed to feel all your feelings. Or did you respond, right? Because we want to work to move from reacting to responding. Reacting is a very clear example that our nervous system is dysregulated. Responding is when we are in a regulated nervous system. And then lastly, ask yourself, what did you do to make yourself feel better? Did you make a cup of tea, enjoy it in silence? Did you talk to a dear loved one who could hold that space for you? Did you tell your boss and they had a really good response? They weren't upset with you. They said these things happen. Maybe they were a little upset with you. Whatever the case may be, what did you do to make yourself feel better? And I want you to check in that you're really working with positive coping mechanisms. Going and pouring yourself a glass of wine or, smoking a joint are not healthy ways to react to. That's reacting to the stress. Going for a walk, having a conversation with a loved one, meditating, all these other ways that allow us to positively cope. Okay, because we don't need to rely on drugs or alcohol or, berating ourselves as coping mechanisms. They really aren't going to help us in the grand scheme of things. And then another big one is moving your body. Moving your body. Physical activity is literally known as one of the best stress relievers because when we exercise, we release endorphins, and endorphins make us feel really good. So a really healthy way to cope with stress and distract your mind from this pessimistic thinking is moving your body. Now, when I say distract, I don't mean numb. I don't mean avoid. I don't mean detach. You have to work to feel your feelings. You have to give yourself permission to feel angry, to feel sad, to feel overwhelmed, right? If we don't, those feelings will manifest in our body. If you're like, I don't believe that, that sounds weird, go read When the Body Says No by Dr. Gabor Mate, and it will blow your mind. Anyways, these are just some of the few things that I like to do when I'm stressed and I want to move my body. I put on some music and I dance. I just let myself dance. Doesn't have to look good, just has to feel good. I go for a walk, specifically after dinner because it helps me digest. Being someone with chronic disease, I often have a lot of indigestion. I will say though, in the last 6 months that has changed because I've been very dedicated to rewiring my central nervous system. So now I'm actually not experiencing that as much. And if you're looking for guidance on that, then definitely reach out to me and we can work together one-on-one. That's what I help my clients with. I work with tons of people with chronic disease. Walk to the store instead of driving, right? Maybe you have to get some groceries, maybe you got to pick up run some errands. If it is within walking distance and you're not going to cause yourself to be too tired or not be able to walk back, then walk. Use the stairs instead of the elevator. Have a workout buddy so you can hold each other accountable and encourage each other. This is really helpful. My friend and I, we meet once a week and we do these Kinergy classes, and Kinergy is a brand, a business. It's kind of like an app, I guess you can download. We use it through her account, so I'm not 100% sure. But what I know is it's like this membership she has, and there's tons of yoga classes, dance classes, meditation, the list goes on. And we like to do dance cardio once a week together. Plus, I'm a part of the HIIT membership. So I meet 3 times a week and do HIIT classes with a group of people. That holds me accountable. And of course, I'm a yoga teacher. So teaching yoga holds me accountable. Practicing yoga. Hello. Yoga teacher would suggest that. Yoga is so phenomenal for relieving stress and for creating a calm, peaceful environment. And a lot of yoga poses actually help to tone the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is very, very powerful. It actually helps us regulate our central nervous system. Playing a game outside with your kids, running around, playing tag, whatever it is. Maybe you have a Wii, you play tennis on the Wii or something. You know, in the wintertime, going skating or skiing or snowboarding or even like tobogganing, like whatever it is. There's so many options. Another one of my favorites is practicing Tai Chi or Qigong. I used to do a lot of Tai Chi as a kid because my grandma did it, but I currently now practice Qigong, and it's so powerful. It's very simple, and it doesn't exert a lot of energy, but it actually helps to clear and amplify your energy. Go for a swim if you have, you know, if you live near water, if you have a pool, whatever it is. At the end of the day, make sure it's something you can enjoy and something you can stick with. Even 30 minutes a day of movement will actually help heal your entire body, right? Like, it's so powerful. And when you think about it, 30 minutes a day is really not that much. Another big one is adopting a healthy lifestyle. So in addition to exercise and movement, an overall healthy lifestyle is really key to managing stress. So eating a healthy diet. I'm studying Ayurveda as part of my yoga teacher training, and well, technically my yoga therapy training, but anyways, in Ayurveda, we believe it's not you are what you eat, but you are what you digest. So having a healthy digestive system is so imperative for our overall healing, because we not only digest food, we digest pollutants in the air, we digest our household products, we digest our makeup products, we digest our thoughts and our emotions and our feelings. So we really want to prioritize eating well. So eating locally sourced food, eating what's in season, eating a lot of vegetables and fruit if your body can handle it, and really avoiding, you know, things with high fat, junk food, caffeine, a lot of sugar, and of course, you know, on top of that, alcohol and drugs. Reducing caffeine and sugar is huge. We actually don't realize how much sugar, refined sugar, is in everything. I live with liver disease, and so a big part of my healing from my liver disease has been cutting out refined sugar from my diet. I'm human, it happens, right? But for the most part, I have substituted refined sugar with coconut sugar and with pure maple syrup, okay? Those 2 things have been really helpful, as well as monk fruit syrup. That's another really good healthy option. But just so you know, sugar does more damage to your liver than drugs and alcohol, okay? So keep that in mind. Cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, please try to avoid. I would be lying if I said if I never used those for coping mechanisms. I had an addiction to alcohol for over 10 years. I write about this in my book, Entering the Divine One Breath at a Time, which you can find online on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, to name a few. It's doing really well. I've sold over 600 copies in a span of a year and a half. But I share about my journey in my book. I'm not going to really share it right now, but know that it is possible. You can heal from these things. I have been sober for over 3.5 years now, and I've never looked back. It's changed my life. And then lastly, get enough sleep. Our body does not function properly if we're not getting enough sleep, right? When we're tired, it actually increases our stress levels and the cortisol in our body. So what else would we be sharing next? Prioritizing sleep and rest. So sometimes we are met with, I can't sleep, right? If you're feeling like you can't sleep, do your best not to fight it. Get up, read a book, put on a heartwarming show, journal, meditate, practice some deep breathing. Because when we toss and turn and just watch our alarm clock, and we start to stress because we're like, oh my God, I only have 4 more hours of sleep. Oh my God, I only have 3 more hours of sleep. But if we switch up our environment, if we switch up our energy, we're actually going to allow ourselves to calm down and be able to fall back asleep. Deep breathing is so powerful. We underestimate the power of our breath because we're not conscious of our breath enough. Okay. I'm a yoga teacher. I am, being trained in Ayurveda and pranayama, and pranayama is the practice of using our breath to heal. So when we practice deep breathing, we're actually increasing the oxygen flow in our blood, releasing these endorphins and promoting relaxation. So try breathing in through your nose for a count of 3, and then exhaling out your mouth for a count of 5. Do this about 10 to 15 times. When we make our exhale longer than our inhale, it stimulates our vagus nerve, and then that helps to tone and create internal safety within our nervous system and reminding our body that we're safe to relax. And then one more before, oh no, I have a couple more. I'm sharing so much here. I forgot how much I put in this presentation. So take time for fun and relaxation. Okay. Leisure time is important. You need to prioritize rest and relaxation. We can't always be on the go. Laughing is such a beautiful way to heal. And again, laughter also tones our vagus nerve. Relaxation practices like yoga and meditation and deep breathing. Talked about all those, but I will say them to the cows come home because they're so powerful. Developing your hobbies and interests, right? Doing the things that make you happy. So like maybe that's painting, maybe that's going for bike rides, maybe that's kayaking, whatever it is. Exploring your spirituality. That is a really big part of our healing journeys, and spirituality does not equal religion. So spirituality is whatever you make it, connecting to a higher purpose or the higher power. Enjoying nature, going for hikes, going for walks, maybe just even going to a park by your house and bringing your journal and spending an afternoon just being immersed in nature. And then another one I love is giving back to others. So volunteering your time, your energy, your money, whatever you can, really helps us come back to this energy of the collective that we heal together. Meditation is so powerful. I know I've talked about it a little bit, but meditation is such a wonderful way to reduce feelings of anxiety. We're actually going to do a meditation together at the end of this workshop. So meditation can be anything, really. Like, it's not just sitting there in silence or going om, right? Like we often think. There's mindfulness meditations, there's guided meditations, there's walking meditations. Yoga can be considered a form of meditation. It really can be whatever you want it to be, as long as you find it relaxing and enjoyable. And then my favorite is taking a break from technology, giving yourself a hiatus from your phone, your computer, your TV. This is so powerful, okay? When you're driving to a destination, listen to relaxing music or drive in silence instead of maybe calling someone and being like, being in another, because what happens when sometimes we're driving, we're like, a lot of us can call people through our phones, or our phones are hooked up to the Bluetooth. We think like, oh, this will be great. Like this will pass the time. Sure. But you're not really being present with what you're doing. And when we take breaks from technology, we're allowing ourselves to come back to presence. So, you're stuck in line at the grocery store. Maybe instead of being on your phone, you just people watch, just kind of take in your environment. Before a meeting, practice deep breathing or drink your coffee or tea without any distractions. Oh, one of my favorite things to do in the morning is to take my tea outside and just sit in my backyard and listen to the birds chirp and the clouds pass by and the sun shining down. It's just the simple pleasures that we sometimes take for granted because we're always on our phones or our laptops, computers, watching TV, watching Netflix, the list goes on. And then a really big one is learning to relieve stress in the moment. Okay, so all that I've shared with you today are practices. Practice, practice, practice. It is not something that's going to happen overnight. It's going to take time. That's okay. It's the beauty of life. So when you're feeling stressed in the moment, try deep breathing. I've already mentioned this and I'll continue to mention it because deep breathing really assists us in states of relaxation, toning the vagus nerve, regulating our central nervous system. Using your 5 senses is wonderful. As human beings, we've been gifted these 5 senses. So whether that's, you know, having a little a favorite photo, where it's on your phone or you keep it in your wallet, something you can look at that's going to ease you, bring you into a state of relaxation, listening to calming music. I love listening to sound baths. You can find sound bath playlists on Spotify and Apple Music. Smell, lavender essential oil is probably one of the best for relieving stress in the moment. Touch, maybe you cuddle with your animal, your dog or cat, or you have like a really nice fuzzy blanket you can wrap yourself in. And then taste, maybe that's a piece of gum to bring you back into the moment, or your favorite home cooked meal, whatever, okay? And then lastly, observing your body. Are your muscles tense? Do you feel sore? Is your stomach tight, cramped, or aching? Are your hands clenched? Are your jaw clenched, right? Are your shoulders up here because you're stressed, right? Like really take time to notice how it's showing up in your body, because our bodies are full of infinite wisdom. They're always communicating with us. Okay, that was a lot of talking. So, you know, if you missed anything, don't worry. This is recorded. You can go back, you can watch it again, you can take more notes. But, you know, whatever you remember from this is what you need. I just want to reiterate that. So we're going to do a little bit of movement. It's super simple. I just want to show you a Qigong exercise that can help you relieve stress and protect your energy. And this is something I actually like to do every day. And you know what, maybe I'll just quickly stop sharing my screen so you can see a bit better. Okay, let's see. Well, I need to move my table back a little bit. Let's do this. This is my living room, my yoga teaching room. Teach a lot of online classes. Anyway, so now you can see me better. So have your feet hip width apart, stand comfortably. And we're just going to stand like this just for a few moments. Close your eyes. Come back to your breath. Focus on your inhales and exhales. Do your best to breathe from your belly. Now you can gently blink your eyes open to look at me so you have a better idea of what we're doing, but it's very simple. So we're going to just fold forward. You can bend your knees if you need to. And it's almost like we're scooping up this energy from the earth. And our palms are facing our body and we're just washing it over the front of our body. When you get to your chest, stretch your arms out wide, bring that grounding energy of the earth up. And then we're going to take that beautiful divine energy from the heavens, from source, from God, whatever you believe in, and wash it down the sides of our body. All the way down. We're picking that energy back up. Stretching it out, bringing it up overhead, and then washing it down the sides of our body. This is a Qigong practice to connect with the energy of the earth, as well as the heavens, to protect ourselves. It's almost like we're putting a beautiful protective layer of energy around our entire body so that we don't absorb other people's stress, so we can stay in alignment with our truth. And I like to do this for a few minutes. You don't have to do it for very long. We're going to do it a couple more times. And as you do, I want you to focus on your breath. Once you get used to these movements, you can close your eyes and just allow your breath to guide you. And then once you're down again, bringing that energy up from the earth, I want you to pause at your belly button. And I want you to imagine you're holding a ball of energy between your palms. You can just kind of start moving your hands around. Really focus on feeling this energy between your palms. Our palms hold minor chakras. Chakras are energy centers within our body. And so we're actually able to play with this energy that you've just cultivated. You can stretch your hands apart from each other, stretch that energy out, bring them back closer together, and just notice what you notice. And then I want you to bring this ball of energy really small, small enough that it's between your two hands. You're cupping your hands together, and this ball of energy is resting between your palms, cupped together. And then you're going to take this and bring it to your lower dantian, which is just below the belly button. This is the powerhouse of our bodies in traditional Chinese medicine. And I want you to take a few deep breaths into this area of the body. You've brought all this beautiful energy into yourself to protect, to heal, to support. You can let your hands go, take a couple breaths. And slowly open your eyes if they were closed. And there you go. That's a Qigong practice you can do every day. I do it in the morning outside with my bare feet on the grass. It is so lovely. But you can do that to increase your energy levels as well as protect your energy. If you're, going out, you're interacting with a lot of people. I always find that when I do that, when I miss my Qigong morning practice, I usually feel a little more dysregulated throughout the day. So try to do that as often as you can. If it's not every day, don't beat yourself up, just do it as you can. Okay, back to our presentation. So this is an exercise I want you to do on your own time. It's called the who, what, when exercise. So this is an exercise to help you better understand who you can lean on in your life. This helps with boundaries. I do this with my clients, and they've said it's absolutely life-changing. So sometimes when we have something on our mind, we want to share with our partner, but sometimes we share with our partner and we only feel worse because they just didn't understand, right? So in reality, they might not have the capacity to understand, and that's okay. We're all on our own individual journeys. So this is why this who, what, when exercise is so helpful. You're going to take your journal or whatever, you're going to create 3 columns. It's going to say who, what, when at the top. And then you're going to write down those people in your life who you can lean on. It can be your partner, it can be your spouse, your friend, a family member, your mom, your kids, whoever, okay? You're gonna list them all. And then you're gonna write down what kind of scenario that they've helped you in the past. Maybe your spouse or your partner is really good at helping you stay calm before a doctor's appointment for surgery. You would write that down. Maybe your mom is really good at helping you relieve stress in the moment when you're feeling overwhelmed with your life. You write that down. Maybe your friend is someone you go to when you need to vent about a situation that just pissed you off. You write that down. This is your go-to for when these stressful situations come up, because you know who is going to be able to hold you with love and with grace, okay? And then here are some journal prompts for stress relief. I want you to write these down in your journal and come back to them every day. Every day. If you don't do it every day, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up, but we really want to try. Journaling is such a wonderful way to connect with ourselves and relieve stress. You can do this in the morning, you can do this in the evening, you can do this midday, but do your best to make a promise to yourself that you're going to commit to these journal prompts. So write them down now so you have them. But the first would be, what is thriving in my life? List 3 to 5 things. That could be, you're staying on top of your healthy eating routine. You have a really good relationship with your friends and family. You're doing really well at your job, or you just launched a business and it's going really well, whatever it is. Then I want you to ask yourself, what am I grateful for? And list 5 to 10 things. It could be you're grateful for your house. You're grateful for the bed you can sleep in. You're grateful for your partner for holding space for you and loving you. You're grateful for yourself for putting yourself first, whatever it is, okay? And you know what? Sometimes it's even nice to take it a step further and not just write down what you're grateful for, but why. Right? I'm grateful for my partner because they show me unconditional love, even in those moments where I might be overwhelmed or reacting. Just an example. Then I want you to list your accomplishments. List everything you accomplished in your day, big or small. That could be from taking a break to rest, to getting a big project done, whatever it is, write it down. And then lastly, make a list of your appreciations. List everything that happened in your day that you're appreciative for, big or small. That could be from admiring yourself in the mirror to making a home-cooked meal. Write it down. Your appreciations and your accomplishments don't have to be big, big things, right? Sometimes we think we can only celebrate ourselves and our journey when we've accomplished something huge, right? Like we got a promotion, or, we finally learned how to snowboard, or, feel comfortable driving a car by yourself, like whatever it is. Those are great things to celebrate, right? But I also want you to practice celebrating the little things. Okay, so we're ending our time together tonight with a kosha balancing meditation. And this is a meditation I learned in my yoga teacher training. I find it very powerful. In Ayurveda, in yogic philosophy, we have 5 koshas. And these koshas are what make up our body, okay? We have our physical body, which is the Annamaya kosha. We have our breath body, which is the Pranamaya kosha. We have our mind, our conscious mind, which is the Manomaya kosha. We have our unconscious mind, which is the Vrijnamaya kosha. And then we have our bliss body, which is the Anandamaya kosha. You don't need to remember all that, but I just wanted to share that with you. So I'm just stopping sharing my screen. I'm going to put my music on, and we're going to do this meditation together. So getting comfortable, you can do this meditation seated or lying down. It's really up to you. I just want you to get as comfortable as you need. Maybe you want to place a pillow underneath your knees to help your low back release, or a pillow under the head. And if it feels safe to do so, I invite you to close your eyes, or just bring them to a soft gaze in front of your nose. Begin to focus on your breath. Notice how your breath is rippling through your body like waves in an ocean. Inhaling through the nose, opening the mouth, and exhaling out the mouth. Take 3 more breaths just like that. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling out the mouth. Notice your belly naturally expanding on your inhale and gently contracting on the exhale. And then once you've completed those deep belly breaths, just allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm, in through the nose and out through the nose. And begin to become aware of your body making contact with the ground. We are going to move our awareness into the physical body, allowing your mind's eye to guide you. Noticing your feet and what parts of your feet are touching the ground. Allowing your awareness to travel up through your lower legs, your knees, your upper legs. Focusing on the pelvic region and the areas here that are touching the ground. Allowing your awareness to travel from the lowest point of your spine all the way up your upper spine. Tuning into your shoulders and your neck, as well as the position of your head. Feel your arms touching the ground, your upper arms, your lower arms, as well as your hands. Begin to notice if there's any sensations in your hands. Begin to notice your skin and how it feels to have skin. Maybe your mind wanders to how it feels to have skin and what this means to you. whether it is the cool feeling of water on a hot day, or the grass tickling your ankles as you walk through the park. And then letting that go and moving into the organs, feeling that you have organs. Allowing your focus to come to your navel and expanding outward to where your organs live in your body. Feeling what it is like to have organs and what that means to you. And then gently letting that go. And allow your focus to come back to your breath, your prana. Noticing how your breath moves in and out by itself so subtly. Notice as you inhale and exhale any sensations you may be feeling along your spine, your back body. And allowing your breath to extend down into your hips, feeling how you can move your prana into your hips. And feel your breath reside in this area of your body in this present moment. Allowing your breath to travel to your hands, feeling your prana moving through your body while you bring it to different areas through your mind's eye. Notice this for a few breaths. Now letting this go and bringing your attention to your thoughts. Beginning to watch your thoughts arise in your mind's eye as if they are clouds. And every time a thought arrives, you simply say thought, watching that thought or cloud disappear. Every time a thought arises, you just identify it as a thought. Beginning to notice the state of your thoughts and how many there are. Noticing if there are space between your thoughts or if they're feeling crowded together. Remembering we are meeting these thoughts with curiosity and compassion, no judgment. And then gently letting this go, and on your next exhale, bringing your attention to your heart space. Beginning to focus on your heart space, this area in the center of your chest, beside your living, beating heart. Bringing a picture into your mind's eye of this area of your body. A beautiful light living inside of your chest. This is your heart space. Giving yourself permission to sit in this area of your body for a few breaths. Feeling this light in your chest fill you with all of the love, compassion, and grace that you need. Keeping your attention in this area of your body and gently asking yourself the question, what is the most important truth for me today? What do I need to know today? Allowing this answer to come to you in its own divine timing, floating into your mind's eye whenever it feels ready. Doing your best not to judge the answer and just allowing your thoughts to fade into the background. Simply allowing yourself to receive. And then letting that go and letting your attention and awareness widen to the space and air around you. simply begin to become aware of the space beyond the confines of your own body. Becoming aware of the higher power or higher consciousness that is around you and ultimately within you. Give yourself permission to ask for help if that is what you need today. If that is part of your most important truth today. We are going to slowly bring your awareness back to your physical body. And while we do so, I invite you to see if you can allow the sensation of bliss to slowly come back with you. Becoming aware of your subconscious mind, as well as your conscious mind, with the assistance of your breath. Allowing your breath to guide you through both. Giving yourself the permission to let go of anything that comes back on the way to your physical body that does not serve you. Using your exhales to help you let go. Allowing your next 3 breaths to be soothing, breathing in through the nose and exhaling out the mouth. Inhaling these feelings of bliss, of peace, of calm, and exhaling anything that does not serve you anymore. Letting go of limiting beliefs, stagnant energy, and stuck emotions, or anything else that is causing you to feel out of balance. Continuing to focus on your breath, your inhales and exhales. Feeling your inhales traveling from your belly to your ribs, to your chest and your collarbones. And on your exhale, your breath traveling back down from your collarbones to your chest, to your ribs and your belly. Focusing on the beauty of your breath as it guides you back into your physical body. Now maybe wiggling your fingers and wiggling your toes. Letting your body know you're coming back to this physical present moment. And then bringing your hands to prayer, Anjali Mudra, in front of your heart center, bowing your head. Thanking yourself for taking time to tend to your Koshik body, balancing from the inside out. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste. You can slowly open your eyes. Thank you so much for being here. It's my pleasure to guide you through this Coping with Stress workshop, and I hope to see you again soon.